What's up, everybody? It is Finish Strong Friday. Trey Griggs here with Beta Consulting Group for episode 101 of the Word on the Street, powered by Beta Consulting Group and sponsored by, not yet. We're going to wait on that announcement for just a little bit. Also, Masters Watch. Tiger's about to tee off, so don't leave the show, but turn it on and keep us posted. We're going to be talking about Tiger throughout the show. And we're in San Diego for the TIA Capital Ideas Conference and Exhibition 2022 here at the beautiful Marriott Marquis. And I've got some in-studio guests today. I'm super excited about this. We did this in Vegas. Shows are always better this way. So got to bring the show. I met this guy for the first time this week. He's definitely taller than I wish he was. Coming to us from Denver, Colorado, my good friend, Coleman Ruffin. Coleman, what's up, brother?
Dude, good to see you finally in person. Good to be here.
It's your jam.
Dude, right, I love it. It's putting in work, baby. Always putting in work. I love it.
I love it. It's so good. Well, so we got to see each other for the very first time in person, and definitely like you're 6'1". I was a little disappointed about that because I'm, measly 5'8". But this guy, the next guy coming in, actually makes me look tall. Like when this guy's around, I actually, I'm excited because he's just huge.
Makes you look tall and small.
He surprised you.
Yes.
Yeah, because you saw him for the first time today as well, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
first
absolutely
time
crazy. Everybody, give it up from a man, Beefcake Bain, Robert Bain. What's up, brother? Come on.
Yeah. I said I feel invincible. It's 100 niggas in the spot. It's 85 just to walk on.
Yes. We're a bunch of white guys.
Just get me under the bar. Let's go.
We're trying to be ghetto. It's pretty rough.
Yeah, let's go.
Good to see you, bro.
Good to be seen. Good to
I
see
know.
you.
I had a great time last night.
You had a great
The
time.
Metaphor Lean Solutions dinner.
You saw me upside down?
I did see upside down.
You had to be there for that.
The beard upside down is trippy. Like, it was trippy. Like, I don't do drugs, but that's kind of what I imagine it was like.
That's the aura coming off.
It was pretty wild. It was cool. But no, it was a great event. Did you see the magician there?
I didn't actually.
Oh my!
I was over the corner.
That dude was sick.
I did not see the
magician. He had people just like, did you? Oh, you weren't there. Yeah, you didn't get invited.
Yeah.
Anyways, no worries. All right.
Got lost in the mail.
Well, you went to Triumph Pay probably, right? Yeah, was that good?
Yeah, it was a ton of fun. I mean, everything thus far.
Everything here has been really tremendous. I mean, there's been a great conference. 1,500 attendees this week, which is just like, I think the most that they've had probably. I think maybe since 2019 or maybe the most, I can't remember, but it's been a great show.
Yeah.
And Ricky's doing a great job.
100%.
I ran the 5K this morning. Where were you guys?
I was sleeping.
What?
I listened to it from my hotel room.
You listened to it.
Yeah.
No.
Nice. I like that. All right. Okay. All right. We got to bring on our next street crew member. This guy's kind of a newbie, but man, he's powerful, packs a punch. He's known as the Freight Sensei. Everybody give it up for Scott Watanabe, who I think I got right.
Yeah, I think you're right.
There he is.
20% skill,
100% reason for you to remember the name.
That's such a good song, Scott. I love it. Again, another white guy that's trying to be ghetto. It's kind of
Coming from the house today, so
yeah, hey, that's that's kind of the way it works. All right, this guy's maybe less ghetto than the rest of us, but still kind of ghetto. Like he's kind of under the table ghetto.
Okay.
All right, he's pretty sick.
That's how you stay hood, man.
I know. It's kind of the way it goes. It's kind of funny. I asked for like walk up songs. I just get a bunch of rap music, and so it's kind of the way it goes. But here's a little switch on it. Coming to us from Chicago, a boy from Matson Logistics. Everybody, give it up for Greg Roberts in the house. Where's Greg? There he is.
There we go.
I was really waiting for Shania Twain. Let's go, girls.
Hey, let's get one Nirvana. Yeah, I'm down.
Oh, yeah.
I'm down.
Can't go wrong.
No.
Just so happy to be here. It's a Friday, right? How can you not be happy to be with your friends?
The artists that are playing these songs that are dead, so we really got to get
Yeah.
some.
Green
are all dead. This
I know.
isn't cool.
I know, that's true. And things are a little crazy today. I'm not even sure who all's like in the studio today. So we'll see. Okay, we're cool. All right. Okay, everybody. So street crew's down a little bit. Chris Jolly is downstairs doing some work. There's some other people that are
He's doing
out
freight coach
today.
Always gone.
Yeah, I know. He's a great
Yeah,
coach,
he's doing his thing.
Big stuff, but definitely follow him. But today our special guest, this guy is fire. Love this guy. Got to meet him probably like 3 or 4 years ago. I can't remember when it was, but a true stalwart in the industry and an innovative person from a tech perspective, without a doubt. And so I'm excited that he's on the show today. So all the way from Cincinnati, Ohio, coming to us from Lighthouse, my boy Jeff Dangelo. Jeff, what's up, brother? How you doing, man?
I was going to say, there it is. Dude, this is like the music that
So everyone's dead, right? We're all dead.
he's not dead.
Yeah, he's in Cuba.
He's definitely not dead.
That's
Jeff,
right.
what's up, man?
That's
How
right.
you doing, bro?
Thanks for having me. It's awesome
Man,
to be here.
I don't think I've ever been on a video call where you weren't wearing a hat.
That's true. That's
That's
true.
right.
I think I wore a hat to my wedding. So the one thing I meant to say, like seeing the street crew, thanks. Nice to meet you guys. There needs to be more females in here.
Oh no, there are
Trey.
usually. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Ladies roll deep. Don't
Dude,
get it
seriously.
twisted.
Yeah, don't
So-
come in.
Okay. I just
We got Raquel Packets, who's solid. Diana Guzman, love Diana.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
You just
Yes.
never know what's
Ball
coming out
of
of her
energy.
mouth.
Yeah, ball of
right?
energy.
Aaron Smetic up in Butler, PA area as well. Rhonda Bulpensa Zimmerman, she's a
Dr.
PhD.
Yeah,
Dr. Rhonda.
Doctor.
We do have some ladies on the show. They're just bailing on us today. Maybe they saw you on the show. I don't
maybe
know.
they saw me. They're like, I don't want to hang out
Right,
with this guy.
I know maybe that's the problem. I don't know. It could be. It could be, but we'll see. All right, so we got a big announcement today. Huge announcement. So
Huge,
not,
very big league, very amazing.
not only are we here at TI having a blast, which is amazing. And by the way, if you're not at TI this year and you're in logistics, you got to be. Jeff,
No.
what's up, man? You're not here. Greg, Scott, come on. Like next year, you guys have to come. It's definitely.
Matson's represented though. We got at
Matson-
least
They
we
haven't
got
come.
two, maybe three.
Armstrong's represented. I think we hosted a get together last night. Should have seen some more people. So
And
I
as
was
far as
getting
my
lots of
Mark
texts.
Christos yesterday,
Okay.
I bragged on Greg. Just gotta hook up my boy. Just
Absolutely.
bragged on him. Not,
Throw
that,
some shameless
not,
plug
that,
in.
not that we need to, but bragged on. Talked about
Is that why I got the email with extra work this morning?
that might have been the case.
And
I don't know.
the see me in HR on Monday. It's really weird. Like,
Yeah.
No,
Uh,
no worries.
Yeah, no. So I saw Mark Christos, but no, the conference is actually just going really, really well. But what I'm most excited about, and you can't really see it because of our screen today, unfortunately, but what I'm most excited about is that we have a new sponsor for the show. Our first sponsor for the show outside of Beta Consulting Group,
Yeah.
which, this is more legit because Beta's not paying me anything.
Make
for
it
this.
big
Yeah,
now.
Right,
Make
exactly.
It big.
No, I'm super excited to announce that Word on the Street and Beta Consulting Group, we've partnered with greenscreens.ai, which is a phenomenal company doing some cool stuff around
Yes.
AI and machine learning. I just talked to some people here at the show. They just started using them, won some huge RFPs, and it's just changing the way they're doing pricing.
Yep.
And I love to see disruptions like that. There's other technologies out there that are doing the same thing. So it's really cool to see that. So thank you so much to Kevin Coombs and Don Salvucci Favier and the entire team at Green Screen. So excited to have you on as a partner and to be able to continue to push your brand and what you're doing in the industry. So thank you so much. Very, very excited about that. And we'll have Dawn on the show. I think she's going to be on like late May.
Awesome.
So we'll have her on as well to talk about her journey.
I finally got to meet her in person.
Yeah, I know.
Yes,
Yeah.
I had a
that's
chance to talk to her yesterday and just
Mhm.
kind of hear her journey. She actually took an interim CE role just to kind of help out
Yep.
and fell in love
Yep.
with the product. And I think that says a lot,
Yep.
about
Absolutely.
something like that. So very excited about that. Great news in that regard. And so did we lose Jeff?
Ruh-roh.
Rotro, our special guest, he's like, I'm out.
He's like, it's too much. It's too much. It's too
Yeah.
much.
Oh, there it is.
Hey.
I think that was just like, no.
No, that deuces. See ya.
Jeff, tell us.
I
how you-
like Don. I like Don a lot too, so it had nothing to do with Don.
So excited to get his keyboard.
No, it was.
I was like,
it's like
dang,
Dawn. It's
We're out. I don't know. That's kind of the way it goes. So no, that's awesome. And I like this view. Thank you. So to my creative director, very excited that he's kind of hooked us up today with there's three of us here. So this is a nice little view. We're going to work
Yeah.
this for a while and do that. So so very excited about that. And I got another announcement coming up possibly next week. So I'm just a lot of cool things happening. And I'm just going to do a shameless plug. So make sure you go to betaconsultinggroup.com, check us out, see how we can help you with your sales and marketing initiatives. And while you're there, visit the events page. And everybody on the show and everybody watching, definitely do that. We're going to be, it's 21 days away. Greg, do you know this? 21 days. And has Nikki signed up? Is she gonna?
Man, I don't know, man.
Nate's not going to do this.
No, I ain't doing this shit. No, no.
But maybe Nikki will. But we're 21 days away from the Word on the Street Tough Mudder Charity Challenge in St. Louis, Missouri. April 30th, we're going to do 9 miles, 30 obstacles. But most importantly, folks, we're raising money for wounded veterans, specifically paralyzed veterans, to help give them a sense of community and hope. My buddy Jeff Combs runs an organization called Battle Buddy 3 Gun. And that organization takes wounded, paralyzed veterans on shooting adventures, gives them a sense of hope. But every one of those costs $4,000. And it's out of profit. They're out of pocket. They're a nonprofit organization. So we're going to raise $100,000, sponsor 25 of these events, which will impact 250 wounded, paralyzed veterans, give them a sense of hope and community. So we need companies to jump on board. If you go to betaconsultinggroup.com/events, click on the events page, you can see everything about the event. You can join us. It's going to be a blast. Or click that donate now to give money to Battle Buddy 3 Gun. All the money goes to them and to support what they're doing, which is incredibly exciting. And if you do come in for the weekend, you get to meet Jeff, hear more about the organization, what they're doing. And I'm excited because I told Jeff, I said, listen, I'm excited to raise money for you, but I want to go on one of the trips. So I'm excited to do that. I'm going to get to document that. It's going to be an absolute blast. So make sure you do that as well.
Such a great cause.
It's
Such
exciting.
a great
So
cause.
dope.
Super exciting. Super exciting. Okay. All right. So Jeff.
Nikki is going to be there. I will make
Yeah.
sure.
All right. Well, it's at a vineyard.
Yeah,
So
like don't get
there's
me wrong.
gonna
I'm
be
going to
some-
sit there and stay hydrated. It's going to be fun. So
Stay
if you want to
hydrated. Give a little
like,
encouragement.
it's going to be
right,
great.
for the
Like,
rest of us that
I'll
are
sit there and talk shit to everybody.
sloshing through the
Yeah.
mud and all that. So no, we're gonna have a lot of fun. So.
Absolutely.
All right, so enough about that. Enough plugging us. So Jeff, man, I'm so excited to have you on the show. I want you to take just a moment and give a little introduction to you. Maybe people who don't, I mean, most people know you. Let's just be honest. Most people know who you are. But for those maybe who don't know you, give a little background to what you've done and what you're doing now with Lighthouse and how that's impacting the transportation industry.
I beg to differ. Most people probably don't know who I am, by the way.
Most people I know who you are. So I mean,
Well, they're like,
They
who's the guy that always wears hats and hoodies? That's all. That's
you
become
gotta
my
have your
thing.
bread, right? You gotta
Exactly.
get your bread.
That's right. So, yeah, maybe they'll do an outline of me like they did with you. You did the little sketch thing.
I know a guy. Yeah.
I know a guy.
Weird, man. Like, yeah, it's already on the skull.
Well, I'm going to age myself. I'm starting to get up there in years. So 20 years in logistics and supply chain. I was probably the 30th. What's
Yeah.
that?
You started when you were 16, so we get it,
Yeah, I started really early.
Yeah,
20 years in logistics and supply chain. First role out of school was working for a very small company. At the time, they had 30 employees. Now they are, I think, 8 billion. It was called Total Quality Logistics. Now it's TQL. So I saw that run from, call it 30 million to 700 million in revenue. And then I left there to help one of the founders of TQL start another company. That company now went 0 to $1 billion. They're $1 billion. It's called Megacorp Logistics. And so for a long time throughout the career in the freight world, I spent talking to a buddy of mine that was at Microsoft. He had worked in the office business, traveled around the world with Steve Ballmer and Bill Gates. He was actually his head of communications. So he wrote all his speeches. And he would come back and say, tell me about this logistics thing that you're doing. We'd have dinner, we'd talk about it. He'd actually come to the floor. And he's like, we can automate a lot of this stuff with software, at least that you're doing manually. And so we looked at a bunch of trends since 2005. And as people started trusting data in the cloud, they started, adopting smartphone technology. Then we started to get serious about building a software company. And the thing that we couldn't solve until the technology was readily available is you've got all these people that are trying to work together without a common tool set, right? 70% of shippers have email and phone call, and they might use EDI. Brokers and carriers have technology that's very specific to them. And so with all these people that have to work together, there's no common tool set to do it except for Excel, right? You see it now with Google Docs and those kind of things. And so we started looking at other industries like social media, like Facebook, LinkedIn. We looked at, what happened in sort of travel world with Sabre and Expedia and those kind of types of software. We looked at the stock market like Charles Schwab and what they did from a $8 trade versus, what do brokers become? And then we thought, when trucks drive themselves, what do we have to do to connect all of the dots? And so out of that was born Turvo. We waited until we could build the same infrastructure that LinkedIn had, where I could just sort of invite somebody and start working with them, no matter who it was, sharing shipments and orders and documents and messages and all those kind of things. So did that from 14, was one of the founders of Turvo, grew that up to where it is today. I left about a year ago to do another startup because I was frustrated at, how our customers weren't using it correctly. And I'm like, well, I'll just go build what I know how to build, which is logistics, but make it a whole sort of digital play. And, but the vision was different. It was, how do I take supply chain as a service, do it digitally, and offer it to companies that don't have access to money or resources or technology or data? So think of shippers, small to mid-sized shippers that use spreadsheets all day long. And so as I started down that journey, one of my customers at Turvo, which is Lighthouse, CEO reached out to me and said, hey, tell me what you're doing. And, I've got call it 25 million in spend. I've got, a team here. Instead of building a brand new house, we can sort of reconstruct it and make the whole thing digital, almost like Bob Vila, right? If you guys ever saw This Old House, like how do we take an old house and make it new? And so we talked about it for probably a month, and then I joined, and since then we've gone, we've taken this idea of supply chain as a service and applied it. We doubled our revenue. We bought a trucking company. Everything we do now is digital, from the way we were interacting with customers, the way we were interacting with carriers, to, even how we're trying to automate ourselves in some way so that customers and carriers have a better experience. So transparency for us is a big thing. Like, we believe that logistics is still broken. Like, when we talk about our why, logistics is broken because there's archaic tech, there's too much manual work, and there's no transparency. So our job is to solve those things for our customers and our carriers. We just happen to be a logistics company.
Yeah, I love that. Now, your story is great. I mean, what's it like to be uber successful? And speaking in terms of billions, with a B.
Billions and billions and billions and billions.
It's awesome. I think, when you think about tech, I think the two words that come to mind for me in logistics is, one, you said antiquated, but then the other one is fragmented, which I think you alluded to if you didn't say it exactly. That I think it describes what we have. Is you have a ton of different technologies out there. You have a ton of different companies, different players. They're not talking to each other. And shippers, like you said, it still blows me away that shippers are using spreadsheets, that they're not, really adopting technology that fast. And I'm not sure if maybe when ownership goes to the next generation, maybe that will speed it up just a little bit, but it's very fragmented, very antiquated. And I remember, Jeff, you and I got to talk about Turbo and what's happening over there. And I love what you said, a common set of tools. And we just don't see that too many places in the industry. We see a tool for this and a tool for that, but then they're not talking. There's no visibility. There's a lack of communication, things like that. So I love your story, man. I love what you're doing at Lighthouse. Congrats on all the success. And you guys got a new office as well there in Cincinnati. Is it Cincinnati? Is that where you guys are? Are you over?
So we're in Covington. So we're in Northern Kentucky. We just moved in probably a week ago. So the company was, we, like a lot of other logistics companies, grew last year, right? So we'll talk about the market and where it's going to go this year, the next year, next couple years. But we decided to invest in a place where, if we're going to be a technology company, like, we've got to look and start acting like it. Even in the way we talk has to change. And so the building, we took a 1928 building and gutted the whole thing, just redid the whole thing, and it's beautiful. They did such a great job in a really cool spot of town.
Yeah, I love that. No, that's so cool. And I'm pulling up, we're going to talk a little bit about freight tech here in just a minute. But one thing I wanted to focus on was, when you think about technology and obviously your journey, especially through Turbo, where do you really see things heading? Like, when you think about the next, let's just say 1 to 2 years, and then, the pace of freight tech, I'm not terribly thrilled about it. It's getting better. But where do you see things like 1 to 2 years? What's really going to come out that's maybe going to change the game, or what are you thinking about, or what needs to happen next, just from your perspective and your experience?
It's a great question. Last year, if you guys look at the data, there was over $100 billion spent in freight, logistics, supply chain technology. Like, that is a massive spend, and it's only going to grow, right? You think about how sort of large this industry is. When I started at Turbo, the supply chain logistics industry domestically was close to $1 trillion. Obviously 1.4, I think, if you add Canada and Mexico. Now it's 10% of GDP. So we're talking it's 2.25 or 2.5, depending on how you look at it, $1 trillion. So of course you have to invest in tech. And so it always takes longer, something that people don't realize. Everybody wants instant gratification. Like, investors want you to be instantly gratified. So, it's always going to take longer. If you take the approach of a full platform stack, that's a long time of building stuff that, might not be able to solve customer problems today, but over time will. And so, most tech companies do what they try to do, what like a Project 44 does, which is they take a single line approach, right? Like, I need to create a wedge and then expand over time. So they started in visibility. They got really good at that and expand over time. the challenge is now, you got somebody else that's doing documents, you got somebody that's doing TMS, and it just continues to fragment the space. So that's like number one, is you got to solve that problem. Everything has to be more interconnected for things to start working together for all of us to get the benefit. The other thing is, like, just because you invest in tech doesn't mean it actually benefits you, right? It's how you change your process and implement. Like, we went through this at Turbo, and I actually help companies have a consulting business outside of Lighthouse called the Hello Street. And it started as going to be a 3PL, but then I realized that everyone who jumped onto Turbo didn't realize that it's going to be a completely different set of muscles they have to create and flex. And so, understanding how to do that digital transformation is as much tech as it is human behavior and process. So that's another challenge with freight adoption and technology. Everybody knows autonomous vehicles is kind of there. There's a lot of companies that are losing money, autonomous trucks, electric. But when everything goes electric, people don't understand that the maintenance dollars for those sort of gas-powered combustion engine companies goes away, or at least shrinks, because there's way less moving parts in electric vehicles. And so those trucking companies have to make money elsewhere. So one of the things you're going to see from, the Daimlers, the Volvos, you name the manufacturer, they're going to start becoming trucking companies themselves. I think that's an awesome shift to our market. So you have to partner with those companies to monetize differently. So that's one big change. You've got new sort of digital players that are coming in, not only changing technology, like Uber and Convoy, great job of, starting to implement technology and data and science and all this stuff into this. But you have to change the business model, which I love Emerge's concept. How do I take technology, service, and a new business model that's very different than a traditional sort of 3PL concept? But then you have other companies getting into the game, the Googles of the world. They're getting into logistics and supply chain. Obviously, Amazon is pushing all these companies. You got PepsiCo. These companies are building logistics organizations, and they're going to start overlapping networks and monetizing differently. So that's going to shift everything. And then you've got obviously the e-commerce sort of investment. So what people don't realize is companies like Nordstrom that were 50% in store and 50% online purchases went to 90-10. COVID changed everything in regards to that. Mm-hmm. So that shifts how obviously supply chain works, right? Instead of having a truckload, now I'm just shipping directly to a human. So that's going to continue to evolve. Freight tech has to catch up. And the market is so fragmented. There'll be a few winners. There'll be several winners in a bunch of areas. I don't think it's just going to be one.
Yeah, we talked about that a little bit with COVID and with rates going up, especially for a while there, back probably a year and a half ago, we started to ask the question, like, how long until these shipping companies, these manufacturers start to get into their own transportation, whether through their own fleet or through their own logistics, service provider. And we started to see that, and it definitely happened. And so it's completely changing the game. Scott and Greg, I'm curious what you guys think about some of this from your position, sitting there and the customers you're working with. And, as Jeff talks about technology, where do you guys see some of this shift happening where it's really going to make a big impact from a technology standpoint?
Well, I think one of the things that Jeff said that was really on point was everybody has so many different tools and different ways. I mean, when we get a new piece of technology, the first thing, or when somebody's pitching a new piece of technology, the first thing that we're doing is saying, okay, yes, we're evaluating if we believe it'll work. But the next thing is, can we do an API? Like, how do we connect it to all these other pieces that we're working through? And I think that is going to be one of the biggest things that we see, is that you get some more common ways for the tools to work together. That along with, and not to get into the survey that you put out there, but I think as we get more pieces of technology able to work together, we're going to see more opportunities for automation where we're going to be able to move forward. I think that's going to be one of the next big things that we see is I don't want to say hands free, but a lot closer to that than we currently are.
Yeah, and there's a lot of industries that have already, adopted a lot of that technology, and obviously it's going to be slightly more challenging, but at the same time, it's definitely possible. So, hey, we got a late visitor. We got to bring this guy in. Let me see if I can. The walk-up music.
If people get here on time, they wouldn't have this problem.
Right. I wouldn't have to worry about this, but that's all right. But
anyway, I get it. Inferior clock, inferior beard.
I know. Yeah. Definitely inferior beard. I'm not going to lie. He's definitely got to step up his game a little bit. But coming to us from Boston all the way, our good friend Kyle McNutt. I like to call him McNutt. It's actually Kyle McNutt. Yeah. But anyways, let's see. Is he coming in? Is Kyle coming in? We got to get him. I got to get him in. Here we go. Here we go. There we go.
What the hell? I am sorry. I was told if you have to work, you shouldn't join this thing. So I didn't join until I finished my job. Sorry that I'm like you guys. I don't get to go to the West Coast and drink and hang out with everyone like ludicrous. I got to actually do work here. / I'm watching the
you have to better your job.
He's complaining a little bit.
Perhaps implement technology and automation like we've been talking about.
I actually have a skill set, so I can't really automate that stuff. I mean, you can try to automate video editing, but when you're skilled as I am, you don't really need to automate that. You want to see my masters at work.
I know. I love it, man. Love it. So we were talking a little bit about automation. And Scott, I'm curious what your thoughts are from your seat and what you see from a technology standpoint. What are some of your frustrations? What things you're excited about?
Making sure I'm unmuted. I'm always excited about new technology. Our CEO Brian Mann, he's trying to slowly get to our company, Armstrong Transport Group, as a tech company that is there for logistics. So we're always adding developers and adding people to our technology team. We've actually had for a little bit in our North Carolina office, we've had more developers than we had operations guys. So the bulk of the operations is in our Boise office, but along with our outside agencies. But one of my biggest frustrations, being the head trainer, is adaptation and teaching these old dogs new tricks. They're so used to their old ways and they're so used to not wanting to participate. And a lot of technology has to do with data. And if we can't get these old dogs to start pushing in the data to help build that data. So like, for instance, our freight matching tools that are out there, we have to have that data in order to enhance the adaptability for those. And so that's my biggest frustration, is getting these guys to say, hey, just do it.
And a lot of times what that is that's creating that moat around their job. Is they think that's creating job security, when in actuality what it's doing is just showing they're not willing to adapt. So to your point, like when you're not willing to adapt, like you're not going to survive. Yeah. And so people think that they're creating job security for themselves, when actually they're working themselves out of a job by doing that.
Yeah. And let me tell you something else about fragmented technology that I'm really focused on, is that if you have a company that has 5 or 6 pieces of technology and it's not talking to each other, then you end up with 5 or 6 databases of data. Yeah. That's not maybe clean, not synced up together. Right. Yeah. But if you have, one common tool set or some sort of way to connect these things, then you can start to clean up or sync that data, make it work better for you. And it's going to be a big part of it, So I think, Scott, you're right. Like, data is going to be huge in this whole play, and making sure that you have clean data from the customer experience all the way to the end of that shipment and everything in between, for not only efficiency and workflows, but also reporting, the analytics, and making decisions based upon that data. Like, to me, data is going to be the critical component of this whole thing.
It is the critical thing.
Absolutely.
For sure.
A good analogy. This one of his classes, he's explaining the evolution of like Legos. Right. Think about each individual Lego piece is a piece of data. And think of the Legos we all play with. They were pretty simple. They were a little boxy, kind of looked like
25 pieces.
Yeah, super simple.
10 minutes.
And now you can get these like 7,000 piece replicas of the Death Star,
right?
That are like these enormous pieces that are very intricate. And what it is when you look at those different pieces of technology, and as you pull all these things together, all these pieces of data, you can create this beautiful story. When all you're doing is looking at all these pieces of data all over the place, you're not going to be able to do that.
Right.
So he equated that as he's looking at data throughout his field of study, which is film. It's like the more and more data you put into that, we're no different. The more and more data you can pull together, and you can create this beautiful story around the data.
Your son did that?
Yeah, my son did that. Yeah.
No.
Yes.
I don't believe it. Awesome. By the way, those Lego sets.
That's pretty great.
Expensive. Yeah. Good night. $500 for Legos. I remember like $20 was like too much for my parents for Legos growing up, and they could spend like $500 on it.
Yeah, he spent $800 on that stupid Death Star. Like, it took him a solid 4 weeks to do it, but he did.
That's nuts. Hey, Wendy was going to say something and he interrupted.
Yeah,
sorry about that.
Yeah, well, no, I was talking about the data where you're talking about clean data and having it all be critical. it is almost better to have no data than dirty data, because if it's not clean data,
100%.
If you have no data, at least you know you don't know something. If you have dirty data and you think that it's whatever, dirty data done dirt cheap. But if you have bad data, you at least think that it's,
you go with dirty data. That's kind of let's stick with that term.
Dirty
I
data.
like the dirty data. I like that.
dirty
I like
data
that
done
term.
dirt cheap.
I had an old external hard drive that had a lot of dirty data on it.
Moving on.
Right there. Like I
Great
said,
keep
more
going.
females in this group.
That's
Kel would
No,
agree.
the data thing is interesting. Like it's the bigger the company, obviously, the more bad data they have, right? Because you've got no standard definition for something. So, when you think of our industry, getting a standard definition in your company, and then now you want to look at the industry, you're kind of effed, right? I know BIDA is trying to do some stuff around data standardization, but it's really hard to say, hey, what's a shipment? What's a load? Is it the same thing, right? Like, how do the systems talk to each other? And, big companies, this is the biggest problem they have is that's why Accenture and those big Deloittes of the world make a fortune to just do data cleansing. Yeah. And, one of the first big companies that we work with, massive org, we announced it and all that kind of stuff at Turbo, was they had 7 TMSs. And how do you get all those TMSs to integrate to give your customer a single experience? It's really hard, and it starts with the data.
Yeah.
So
here's I learned this a while back. One of my probably the biggest tip I could have for companies, especially one that's growing fast. A lot of times when you're growing fast, you have these needs and you just want to, kind of like fix the pain or fix the issue right away.
Move on.
So you buy a piece of technology that will solve this problem, and you don't even evaluate what your other technology does that might actually solve the problem. So you're just adding technology and you're adding these data sets. And for a company growing fast, not to slow it down, but certainly I think that you have to have some sort of process to evaluate your current technology before you're adding new technology to be able to maintain that. Because otherwise, like if you grow really big and you don't do that, you're going to have to do it eventually. And to Jeff's point, like you're going to have to pay a lot of money to an Accenture to come in and try to clean all that stuff up, as opposed to trying to outline it and get it right from the beginning. And I mean, think about technology. Most technologies that are out there, people use 20% of it. They don't even know what a lot of it does.
Absolutely.
I work in the sales aspect and the marketing side of it. HubSpot, for example. HubSpot's a great system. It's very simple. It's out of the box. It's easy to use. But people don't even realize what it does. So they're starting to add pieces to it that HubSpot most likely does, but they're not evaluating it and not learning that. They're just trying to solve a quick pain point. And you do that over and over again. You have 20 pieces of technology during your company, and you have data silos everywhere.
And more importantly, you have 20 invoices for all those details.
Yeah, it's just an absolute mess. And you're not using them fully, right? I mean, it's very inefficient in that place. So I think from a tech
I would disagree that it's only big companies that really get affected. I mean, not that Jeff was saying.
No, definitely not.
I know I jumped in. I made a porno joke. It's really came in like a right Cyrus, but
the hands up.
Back to hands are up. I'm watching the Masters. But to what Greg's saying, like garbage in, garbage out, and that really, I think, a lot of small companies lose that next step because they have that bad data. They don't have that ability to make the sophisticated decisions or the smart decisions because they have the bad data going in. They have individuals who just kind of had to figure it out to do this type of stuff. I mean, I think data just affects everyone. Like it's hard to really, and no one knows what the hell to look for.
Yeah, and definitely.
Well, and then you get the people who are doing something to figure it out, and they are doing the quick and easy fix so that now you get so far down the road, and at that point, where do you cut the line in the or draw the line in the sand to say, okay, we're not going to take any data before that because we don't trust any of it.
Right. I mean, take Trey, you and I ran CRMs. We knew how that, like, we were running CRMs. We kind of just had to figure it out. It was one part of our multiple things we were doing as marketers with jobs. It's hard to sit there and say, like, oh, everyone should be good at this stuff. You're like, I have too much crap going on. I got to kind of accept what I know about this thing. I got to do it to the way that it makes sense to me, and then I got to move on. Like, that's one of the hardest parts about technology platforms. You just make it make sense for you. And like, oh yeah, you can do all the great user experience, user design, all that crap, but people just don't even know what the hell they're doing half the time.
Yeah, no, I think you're right about that for sure. And if you just got in, take the poll real quick on Freight Tech. We're also going to talk about Tiger in a minute. And just so you guys know, tees off in 7 minutes. Round 2. He ended yesterday, tied for 10. Jeff, I know you got to be super stoked about that. We're going to.
He's only 3 back right now. So
I know. I'm telling you, you just never know. And some guys not running away. Danny,
how much do you guys have on Tiger to win?
I don't have anything because I'm not like you. But I wish I had 100.
I got 100 on him.
You got 100, my man.
Yeah,
my man. Hey, listen, that's 5 racks, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey,
like, sign me up.
Seriously,
I'll take it.
Seriously, that's awesome. Okay, so let's go through this poll real quick. We don't have a lot of feedback today, but we'll talk about it a little bit. So, first question was, what aspect of freight tech, tech and logistics has fallen short? Options like TMS, tracking solutions, rating tools, automation, documentation, document management, and then other. And so I chose TMS because I just feel like, there's some really good platforms that are coming out, but they're still not like mainstream. Not to take anything away from some of the more legacy platforms, but you're just not seeing a platform that's really really winning. Merge is doing some good stuff, Turbo's doing some good stuff. I'm really excited to see some like multiple platforms or maybe somebody really win in this space. So that was what I picked. Who picked other? Who chose other? Anybody on the show? Greg, what
the answer, yes. Was not on no, I think we talked about it when Green Screens was on, actually. Talking about some of the rating tool issues that I run into. I think everybody can agree that a lot of TMSs are behind. There's just so many out there that everything could really use a boost.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Jeff, what would you pick if you had to pick from that list? Which one would you pick as hey, it's just feel like it's falling short?
I'm trying to read it. It's so small. Hold on.
I know. Sorry about that. I scrolled up a little too fast.
There you go.
TMS, solutions, rating tools, automation, document management, or something else.
See, I think holistically about this and saying we're buying these little, we'll call them point solutions to solve that one thing.
Yeah.
And I would step back and say the platform, and not just TMS, not any of the stuff, the platform has fallen short in our industry.
The whole ecosystem.
Yeah, there is no great platform. And I'm always gonna, toot the horn of Turbo because people don't understand the architecture is the most important part. And that's why big companies start to build their own stuff, is because they don't trust anything. And the problem a lot of times with the big companies is they're not software people, they're logistics people. And so it's really hard to build when you haven't sort of come from the world of Google and Microsoft and how do I build big platforms? And so I think that with all the freight tech, we think of all the investment in freight tech, someone's going to come in from that world and build a consumer-like platform for our space that will start to win. And it has to be easily, to Greg's point, it has to connect to everything in a self-service way, no matter what, because someone likes their, I like my tracking, thing, so I want to use it. Great. Put your credentials in and you're off to the races.
That's right. That's right.
All the legacy platforms today, you just can't do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think that's what has let all of us down in the industry, all of us.
I think you're right about that. It starts at the platform level, but I think the reason people don't do it is because that's the most painful change to make. It's holistic. It disrupts in major ways. I had the chance to.
They've accumulated too much tech debt.
Right.
So that's what we're talking about here. We're talking about tech debt in your organization, right? And so it at some point, if you're going to grow and you're going to adopt, it has to be paid.
Yeah.
And it's just, do you pay it now and deal with it, bite the bullet and deal with it, or you just keep accumulating it, and then you got to basically go tech bankrupt.
Right. And I had the chance for a while to work at Port TMS in Kansas City, and they're still kind of developing out. It's really coming along. It's a good platform. But one thing that they said was exactly what you said, Jeff, and that is, how can we self-serve APIs? How can we make it to where somebody likes using trucker tools for tracking? How can you just put your truck, your credentials in there and it works?
It's like Checker, the fintech, where you go in, you put in here's my bank, US Bank, here we go, here's my login,
right? And
they ask you your few security questions, and boom, it's connected.
Other industries have figured all this stuff out, right? And we're still trying to figure all this stuff out.
Not going to make the shameless plug, but
good. I was going to talk about Socket.
So Socket, we do that. That is what we're developing over at Metaphora. So for those who don't know that are watching, consultant at Metaphora, and we're building this marketplace that is designed just like that, where you put in, here's my credentials on Trucker Tools, here's my credentials on Turbo. And they match those two together. And as we build out that marketplace, it's simply going to keep adding those in. So all it's going to be is it's a language normalization platform. So Turbo's over here, Trucker Tools over here, everything connects inside Socket, everything reads back just like you would do with Google Translate. I speak Spanish, you speak English, but we're talking back and forth.
And even at that, it feels like a little bit of a Band-Aid, a little bit. It's not the platform.
It is a little
bit. It's not
correct.
The platform level, but it is servicing that issue of how do we make this self-service and easy to communicate, easy to talk to. So I think that's good. Okay, let's go to the next question real quick. Actually, we're going to skip that one. We're going to go to the third question. Let's go to here we go. Let's ask this question here. With venture capital and private equity has really exploded in our space. And Jeff, you have an inside track on this, but I think especially since like 2018, 2019, we've just seen money just being poured into the space.
Half an idea, they're throwing money at it.
Yeah, I mean it's just a lot, and I think that companies are starting to that's their game plan now is, hey, let's get some money, let's try to raise, let's see if we can make a push at it. And Jeff, you have a ton of experience in this. When you think about VC and PE dollars, that are invested in freight tech, how would you rate the speed with which new technology is being created? Jeff, I would love to hear your take on this first before we start talking about it.
There's a lot of noise, right? There's a lot of noise being made. You got to find the right one, obviously, because it's hard to find winners here. Like I said, there was $100 billion spent last year. And I bet it will double this year. I mean, it has to double this year just because of the size of the market and ecosystem. I think one of the most, I get calls from VCs a couple times a week to say, can you look at this deal for me? Like, tell me about this deal. Yep. VCs are not, I'm generalizing here, guys, but most VCs are not educated in our space. And they're trying to figure out, what is a digital broker dollar? Is it really 3X, gross revenue versus what is a traditional 3PL? When you think about the digital broker, did I lose you guys?
No.
Oh.
We just wanted to put you up on the screen.
Oh, okay. I'm never by myself. Okay.
Yeah. We like the spotlight before you're talking.
Why am I looking at myself? So they're trying to understand this space, and they're trying to understand are there going to be winners or are there going to be losers? And they're trying to take other, think of what happened with Expedia and Saver and that, and they're like, hey, do we apply the same kind of concepts to this space? Is it the same? Well, we all know it's a little different, right? We all know freight logistics supply chain is different. And the more upstream you go, the more complicated it gets. The more downstream you go with, e-commerce or whatever, is there really money to be made in e-commerce? And so am I just going to dump a bunch of money like they did the scooters and then lose it all because they're dumping it into the freaking water? Who knows?
Not wrong.
Right. So, I just made a personal investment in a really cool company called Cargo, because I think they're taking a really cool sort of angle at trying to understand and normalize data. You guys talked about data, and how do I get data into a system, a warehouse? Think of all the crap that happened with inventories the past 2 years. One of the heads of supply chain at Clorox was telling me, he's like, we used to think we knew where our inventory was. We have no clue, no idea, right?
Wrong. Yeah, wrong.
I mean, sorry, Kroger, if you're listening, but he's not wrong. And so, how do you invest in the right stuff, in the right, finding founders that understand this market is really hard. It's not just logistics supply chain founders. I think our industry, you have to have a tech founder, a product founder, and a logistics founder to do really well. Yeah. If you don't have a logistics supply chain founder,
say that again, please.
I think you have to have all three, right? You have to have the technical founder that understands platforms and APIs and data, where it's going with Web 3.0 and just all that stuff. What blockchain is, it should be public, private, contextual, all that stuff. You have to have a product, someone that has a product mind, and I think you have to have an SME of this industry that tells you what crap not to step in. So yeah. I think from an investment perspective, the money is good, right? The amount of money being poured in the space, until you have really smart, thoughtful VCs that aren't just looking at the numbers, that understand this first tranche of investment is going to take some time to get it right? It's super early. It's still so early in our industry.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And then the last question that we had today was, what statement best describes your technology philosophy? And I'm glad that Coleman's here today to talk about this, because Coleman, recruiter for talent solvers. Yeah. You guys are still in the people business for sure.
Yeah.
And some people think that technology is going to eliminate people. Some people think that technology is going to eliminate a few people, but still need it. And some people just think it's just going to enhance it. You're not going to actually eliminate anybody at all. I tend to kind of fall in the middle of that.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's like anything else. Like I just booked some flights this morning before the show in 5 minutes and didn't talk to a single person. I booked this hotel, didn't talk to a single person. Like those things happen. But yet when I get to the hotel, I want to talk to a person if I have an issue. You know, I don't even want to talk to a person again if I don't have to, but if I have an issue, I want to talk to a person, and they need to know what they're doing. Like they need to, you know, be good at what their job is. And so I tend to kind of take that philosophy. What do you guys think about your philosophy of technology and how you would, you know, equate that to humans? I'm gonna start with you. Like, how do you guys think about that? Because you're in the business of, you know, recruiting for positions.
Specifically for myself, I'm right in the middle with you. I think technology is going to be here to enhance our jobs. And yes, it's going to maybe take some of the operational inefficiencies off of our plate, which might not have necessarily the same head count that it would normally take. But I think that's going to create other jobs in different sectors as well. So it's not going to be, everything is going to be automated. It's going to be robots everywhere. It's going to make our lives easier and then create different avenues for other jobs to open up.
Right. I mean, you kind of think about, I mean, just all the technology it does, like all the technology of a car, for example, this point, it had to take the driver away.
Yeah.
It's just enhanced what the driver can do while they're driving down the road.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that, you know, technology has that play where they can make workers more efficient.
Mm-hmm.
They make their work more enjoyable.
Yeah.
They can be more productive. But I just tend to find that some things will take people away. Other things you still really need to have them there. It's going to be kind of a combination. You know, Scott, what do you think about that when you think about technology? I mean, you're on the floor, you got a team on the floor, you're obviously in the trenches every day. When you think technology, how do you think it's going to impact, you know, your business and moving forward? What's that look like?
Yeah. So when I coach, as far as on the customer sales side, I coach this. I say there's no problem. Technology is going to come. Let me know if I got to speak louder. Technology is going to come. The emails, the texts. Some of our biz dev had some really good luck on saying, "Hey, text me if you need anything," because that's the generation we're in, is that technology. But I also tell them I'm a firm believer in relationships. If you can't get someone on the phone to understand their absolute freight needs when you're speaking to them, you're going to be hear it in the voices and their you know, in their nuances of how they're speaking. And if that relationship is, hey, I just put mine to bed, you fell asleep on my lap, so that's funny. But yeah, it's this relationship, or this industry is relationship based, and if you're not building that network and creating that relationship, so you can have difficult conversations when issues do arise, nothing's going to. There's no technology that's going to be able to replace that. I know the Mark Zuckerbergs of this nation is going to say something different in the metaverse, but
he's a robot anyway.
Yeah.
Having true relationships, especially in this industry. I mean, we might have a digital brokerage on the Oculus. We just gave away 2 Oculuses for ourselves, and they're on the sales floor. I'm just like, he's just talking to truckers online. But yeah, 100% believe that technology will never replace the actual authentic relationships that you need in order to grow individual book of businesses.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And we have our youngest street crew member on the show
Small
ever.
human.
No, that's just what Kyle looks like when he shaves.
It's cleaned up real quick.
What's her walk-up song? Does she have a walk-up song?
Yeah, it's Baby Shark.
It's the intro to
It's Wheels on the Bus by Coco Melon is the only song she likes.
Coco Melon. That's what I was saying.
Hey, speaking of
got the zip.
got Juan by in the green room right now. Is Juan? Is he with us today? Did I see him pop his head in there?
Hey.
He is. Hey. So, I'll just play. I don't know. Juan's a pretty successful guy, so maybe this would be his walk-up song.
You lose, boo-hoo. Hey, look, I made it.
I love it. All right. Well, what's up?
Well, they're still alive though, so that can't be right.
I think I wasn't gonna make it. I just got off a meeting.
Nice. Are you down in Colombia or are you in the States with us, man? Where you at?
No, I'm still in Colombia. I wish you guys are at TIA, right?
We are at San Diego.
I wanted to go. It just
I know.
Got in the
you got to stop planning things and start doing them. That's all I'm gonna say. Hey, so listen, everybody. So Tiger he just teed off. And he hit it in the bunker. Not happy about that. We actually have the TV. This is we didn't plan this, but it is
money.
That was yesterday. That's right. Yesterday. But yeah, we got this positioned perfectly so we can kind of see what's going on with Tiger Woods. So
we're above the lip.
What was that?
You got it above the lip at least.
Yeah, that's
There we
true.
go.
He did.
So Jeff, you're a big golfer. You've been to Van and Dunes, I know, because I'm very jealous. You told me when you went. My invite got lost in the mail. It's okay. The USPS sucks, but it's all right.
It'd be that way.
Right.
They could use a text
we'll
solution.
fix
Yeah, I was
that at
gonna
some
say.
point. I know. So let's talk a little bit about our feelings about Tiger. Now, I think that we're all a little surprised that he made it back. Those of us that follow golf for sure. Jeff, what are your thoughts about Tiger teeing it up? Like, what was your response to that? Did you think he had a shot? Were you stoked? Were you kind of surprised? What do you think?
Never underestimate the guy. Right? I mean, the guy can do anything. I feel like. I mean, not only can he do anything, get away with it ish, but he can also
Not have
do
a successful marriage.
Yeah, but he can at least he can walk on a broken leg and win the U.S. Open. Like he's
Unreal.
pretty amazing. He's the best iron player that's probably ever played.
Ever.
Yep.
Best clutch putter ever.
Best clutch putter ever played. Like, and anytime he's in the game, he is the needle. Like the needle doesn't move. He's the needle.
Think about this. 2 weeks ago, Scotty Scheffler won the World Golf Match Play and became #1 in the world, and nobody cared.
Didn't matter.
Nobody
didn't give a
cared.
shit.
Like he wasn't even the headline on like Golf Channel or Sports Center. The video of Tiger Woods.
Yeah.
It was like,
Scotty doesn't
I mean,
know, and no one knows Scotty.
Yeah. I mean, all right. So Jeff, real quick, what's your prediction about Tiger? You think he makes a cut? Top 25? Top 5?
I think he'll make the cut. He knows that course too well, and like once you win on that course, you know how to win. Like I think those guys keep coming back. As you see, it's probably the most repeat winners of any major tournament. If you look at his how many he's played, 24 times and has 16 top 10s or something crazy. Like it's pretty amazing. I think he'll be a top 10. I think he'll sneak into, maybe double, high single digits, low double digits to be a top 10. But winning it's going to be really hard with how big he's like yesterday in his threesome. He was behind both guys every time off the tee.
Oh yeah.
Every single time. And it's like, that's not Tiger of old, but he can still chip and putt around that place.
Yeah. I mean, to be really fair, he probably made 5 par putts that were 10 feet or longer.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not normal.
Yeah.
So his 71 was probably a little bit of a kind of an anomaly for the way he actually played.
Yep.
But if he does get it going and kind of feels loose or whatever, gets in the hunt, like you said, I'm just not going to bet against the guy. On the poll, everybody thinks he's going to finish in top 10.
If he is,
well, I must not have registered in that poll because I thought I took it.
If he's 4 back or less on Sunday, I'm putting more money down.
Yes.
Yeah.
100%.
I mean, you just have to figure that he's going to find a way.
He's going to find a way because then you're dealing with whoever it is. You're dealing with the mystique of Tiger. It's like people who used to have to beat Arnold Schwarzenegger.
The pressure.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like it is doable. It's not that it's not, but you have to not only deal with that individual on the course or on the platform, whatever. You also got to deal with the mystique of that person and all that pressure of everyone going, can you fucking do it?
Yeah. And think about this: he has not played a competitive round of golf in over 500 days.
That's crazy.
Like there's rust usually. Like you just don't come out and play well, and for him to shoot 1 under,
Steroids.
It could be.
It's not just the mystique. I think it's the crowd. Like, on Monday they were like 6 deep, and on Sunday if he's in it,
there were 25 deep.
It'll be 20. Yeah, it'll be
absolutely.
And no one's these guys have never seen crowds like that.
Yeah,
for the past 2 years they haven't, right? With COVID and stuff, it's back into the crazy world. Sorry, talking
Greg,
COVID.
Well, no, I'd be happy to be wrong about Tiger, but the accident he was in, I mean, so for him to go out one day, that's impressive. For him to go out 2 days in a row, his body, he even said it yesterday that he was as sore as he was expecting he was going to be. If he can walk that course on Sunday, let alone, that's what I think. I would love to see him there. It'd be awesome. I think he'll make the cut just because he had a great day yesterday. But I think as the weekend drags on, he's going to fall further and further back.
And I think I heard
I'll be the negative Nancy on the call.
Well, you always
you believe in miracles, huh, Greg?
But I heard that today will be the first time since his accident that he's played 2 consecutive rounds of golf.
Wow.
Like he's played around, took a day off, played around, took a day off. This is the first time that he's gone back to back. I mean, it's going to be a huge lift, but there's got to be this drive in him. Like he wants this. He wants the Ben Hogan aura of this comeback.
Anyone who's ever been an athlete, a high level athlete, you've always got one more in the basement. Right? If you guys ever watch Rocky is my favorite movie series. And Rock talks to like, I still got there's one monster down there.
Yeah.
There's one monster in the basement. Tiger is even.
And even if he thought he got the last one,
No.
then the next one comes up, right?
I'm just retired till I'm not tired anymore.
And how much, you got to think his home, like his son plays golf now. He's competitive. He's good. He's spent time with Justin Thomas. How much time do you think they sit around talking about, you think I can catch Jack? You think, Dad, can you catch Jack? Like, I just wonder if they think about this kind of stuff. Like, let's go see if we can do it.
I imagine he's more mad at Mickelson right now. He's like, shit, he's got the last championship. He's got the last major. I got to get in there and beat his stupid ass. He's goofy.
No doubt about that. But who would have thought that Tiger Woods would play this Masters and Phil Mickelson would not?
Yeah.
Like that's quite the surprise as well. But what it is, what it is. I know what a time to be live. It's good. All right, so Jeff, we're gonna wrap things up here. We got about 5 minutes left. No This Week in Pictures because it's TI. I'm crazy busy. Like
just running around.
I have not had time to do it. So we'll double it up next week. It's gonna be great. We'll do that. But Jeff, let's talk just for a moment about where Lighthouse is headed. What do you guys? What news are we gonna read in the next 6 months that you guys? What's the goals? What's the targets? Can you share that?
So one of the biggest things we're doing, again, like I said, we're trying to take a digital approach to everything we do, is trying to get people to understand what this supply chain as a service concept is, and digitally, right, in the space. So you'll probably hear some news coming out about us doing some really cool stuff with customers and carriers collectively as a network approach to versus a transactional broker concept or even a managed provider. It's actually more about the collaboration of all three parties or more into one, sort of single way as, and then from that, the business model that we're going to market with, it's different than sort of a traditional 3PL. So we'll bring that out. We'll bring that out in the next, 3 to 6 months.
I think I've known you long enough to know that collaboration is your favorite word. I think that's your favorite word because we've talked about it a lot, right? Like,
well, the word is great. The problem is everybody messed it up. So
yeah.
Like, how do you define collaboration? Oh, there's data that we make available. That's not. I mean, come on. Like,
I think
it's yeah. So it's just defining, and all these words, like words matter, right? So it's like, how do you get the word and make sure people understand what it truly means? Now people use collaboration as a way to sell their product, and you're like, well, that's not collaboration. So I think, Trey, my thing for you would be maybe you can define it for everybody.
On the call?
World. No. I mean, you don't have to do it on the call. I'm just saying, like,
I know.
That's your homework.
Yeah.
I want to hear it on the call. I want to hear it.
Define it for everybody so people understand, like, what it actually is, so people can't sell against something that's not collaboration, right? Because they're selling collaboration. It's not really collaboration.
Here's my shot. I'm going to take a shot at it. People of different backgrounds, different skill sets, and different priorities working together to reach a common goal.
With the output more than the sum of all those parts.
We're getting close. That's not a bad shot. That's
on a shirt.
That's not terrible. Narrative.
I don't know what the reference, but I just take a shot. But Jeff, I think you're right about that. I mean, that's here's what you need to do, Jeff. So next year, all right, TIA 2023, it's going to be in Orlando. You need to come. We'll get you. We'll have a breakout session. You can teach everybody about this, so we can push the industry forward in that regard. We need guys like you up on stage to share that message. No doubt about it. All right, man. Hey, Thanks for joining the show today, Jeff. Really glad to have you on the show.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah. We had a great time as well. Usually it's like a little more chaotic. It's a little more subdued, and we got to get the ladies back on.
Of course.
I'm about to roll them out. I know. Because we worked really hard. Like, believe it.
Yes.
Like a year ago, we were like, we need more ladies on the show. So we worked really hard and reached out to some people, and we got some people in, which was awesome. But we're going to have to.
What's great is because their association with the show, their businesses are growing.
Maybe they knew that you were going to be on the West Coast, and they didn't want any more of that action. Because when we were in Vegas, it was a little sketchy.
I mean,
when we were in Vegas last time.
Like Vegas going Vegas.
Yeah. Vegas a little different. San Diego's not quite the same. Yeah. But anyways, everybody, thank you for watching episode 101 of The Word on the Street, powered by Beta Consulting Group and sponsored by our friends over at Green Screens, who are bringing some incredible AI and machine learning into dynamic pricing for the industry. It's very excited about that. And thank you for them for partnering with us. And we'll be back next week with episode 102 live from St. Louis. So be sure to join us next week at noon Central for Word on the Street, powered by Beta Consulting Group. We'll see you guys later. Catch up with Tiger. He's on hole number 2. All right, we'll see you guys. Have a great day. Talk to you soon.
Have a good weekend.